So let us start at sort of the middle of the mat would work. We don't have to start at the top right now. And we're gonna have our feet a little bit wide. Hips width is usually if you make fists and you put your fists between your feet, that's like hips width. So go a little bit wider than that. You'll feel real stable and steady. Now let's put a little bend in the knees and we'll just drop the chin toward the chest. Try to still draw up through your low belly. And you might feel, if you're tight in your back, you're going to feel this already kind of pulling on your back muscles. And it's sometimes, if you're tight, it is hard to drop your head. So try to stay calm. And let's take it a little bit further, maybe 4 more inches. We'll roll forward. We'll try to let our arms dangle. We might have to shake a little bit, like bending and straightening the knees kind of quick to sort of shake out the arms. Draw the belly in again and go about 6 more inches down. And then we're trying to create a rounded back. So you're going to use your front body to do that. So your abs draw in to control the shape of the back and still try to keep the head heavy. If you're not having a tight day in your back, this is going to be so easy. And if you're at all tight, this is not easy. So we'll go a little further. And start to angle your tailbone toward the floor also. So your head is dangling, your tailbone's reaching down, and it's like your mid back is arched up. Just conceptualizing it. And let's go the rest of the way down so our fingertips touch the floor. And when you get there, let's straighten the legs any amount for an inhale, reach the chest forward, and exhale to fold again. Bend the knees a lot so that you can get your hands down comfortably. Inhale, straighten any amount, chest forward, just to start getting into the hamstrings a bit. Exhale to fold, bent knees. 2 more times like that. So whatever range you're working with is just where you're at, and that's fine. There's no reason to get the legs straight if that would pull on a hamstring too much. You just go till you feel something. And the next time that your knees are bent, dangle the head again. And we're going to start rolling up maybe halfway. And once you get to the halfway spot, again, shake everything so it's still dangling. Angle the tailbone toward the floor. And then start to roll up a little more. And a little more until incrementally you can rise fully. And your head comes up last. And let's bring the right ear to the right shoulder. If that's enough stretch, stay like that. If it's not enough, put your right hand on your left ear or on that side of your head and just apply a little bit extra. And let's start to push the hips to the left. Reach the left arm behind the back. And just increase your side bend. It's almost like your knuckles on your right hip are nudging your hips more to the left. Now let's release our left arm, bring the spine to neutral, release that right hand if you have it on the head, and just bring your head up. And try the other side. I sometimes start with the left hand on the right side of the head right away, or you can just drop your ear, left ear to left shoulder, and then decide about your hand some point. And start to move the hips to the right. The weight is going to shift more into the right foot. And bring the right arm behind the back. The knuckles can then help nudge your hips further to the side. So you're essentially pulling yourself into a side bend. And it starts with the neck stretch and it grows. And we'll let that right hand slip away. The hips come under the shoulders. The left hand slips away and the head comes back up to neutral. Now let's put a deep bend in the knees so the thighs are about parallel to the floor. And we're just going to reach forward. So this is like a variation on chair. You could consider it a squat. You're just going to go as low as your knees will allow. But for right now, we won't go past that parallel spot. And let's come all the way to stand. Reach for the ceiling on your inhale. Return to that spot with the knees bent for your exhale. Palms will face in toward each other. We'll inhale, we'll push through the floor so our legs get really straight. And then we'll exhale, our butt will stick out, our arms will go forward to counterbalance it. I'll just do a few more times back and forth like this. Just warming up your thighs a bit, figuring out how we're going to use our feet to propel us this way and that way. Good. And the next time that you're reaching up, let's interlace the fingers behind the back, roll the shoulders back. Palms may or may not be together, but fingers stay gripping each other. We'll inhale, chest up, and let's fold for the exhale. And you decide if your knees are straight or bent here. That'll depend on your hamstrings, hips, and back. The shoulder situation is inevitable, so whatever you do with your knees, you're not going to escape that. Let's take one more breath. And we'll all bend the knees until we feel our chest on the thighs. Then release your palms to the floor and step into plank. Straight arms, straight legs. Good. Let's keep the left leg where it is. Just tap your right knee to your right elbow and step it back again. And tap your left knee to your left elbow and step it back again. Good. One more breath in just a normal plank. So notice that your hips are facing the floor, equal weight right and left hands. Let's just press the downward dog. And we'll pedal out the feet here so that your calves get an opportunity to stretch out more. And the Achilles. My body worker guy that pointed out how inconsistent my hips are said that with the popularity of pickleball, he's seen a lot more Achilles injuries. So our downward dog helps us sort of massage out Achilles a bit. Let's step that right foot forward to the hands. Simple twist, right arm up. Inhale. And let's untwist for the exhale. Palms flat, we'll straighten that right leg, either 1 inch or 1 foot for an inhale. We'll bend it again for an exhale. One more cycle, right arm up, we twist. We exhale, we untwist. We're still pushing into the sole of the right foot. We straighten the leg however much. Inhale. We bend for an exhale. Let's step to plank again. Find that steadiness. Pay attention to how you're making it so that you're not going to move. And we're just going to bring our right leg in so our knee touches our elbow. But only the leg moves. And then bring that right foot back again. And start to bring the left leg in. Go nice and slow so that your weight doesn't shift from hand to hand. Step it back again and just press the downward dog. Now let's bring the left foot forward to the hands. Simple twist for an inhale, left arm up. We look at the thumb. We exhale to untwist. We straighten that left leg and inch or a foot. We inhale. We bend to a lunge, exhale. Left arm up, twist, inhale. Untwist, exhale. Straighten the leg, inhale. And bend the leg, exhale. Palms flat, we step to plank. We find that stability and it's coming from our low belly. So think about drawing your belly in and now bring your right knee to your elbow. Nice and slow so that it's graceful. And step it back again. Left knee to the elbow. Feel how the crunch is happening. Left foot steps back. And we'll meet in downward dog. We'll pedal out the feet again. Well, let's start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. And when you get close, we'll inhale halfway. We'll exhale to fold. Let's bend into the knees. We'll reach the arms up. But then we'll reach the arms forward like we did before. And you decide, are your feet together or apart? Are they at hips width or a little wider? But we're sitting as low as we can. Our arms counterbalance our butt. Good. So let's rise up to stand. We're going to hold our left shin with our fingers interlaced. And just pull that knee in toward us any amount. And let the arms straighten so the thigh moves away from you. and pull it in again for your exhale. We'll let the arms straighten. We inhale. We'll bend the elbows. We bring our thigh toward our chest. We exhale. Just one more like this. The standing leg is going to stay straight. The next time that your left knee is close to you, you're going to keep it there. Think more about pressing into your right foot and just reach up. The more you press with your right foot, the higher up you can reach. The more you'll be able to bring that left thigh close to you. Good. And let's just step back to a lunge. If the foot doesn't land where you want immediately, then just take a few steps. Good. And let's twist to the right, opening up the arms, little bend in that back leg. High lunge again, inhale. 2 more times like that. We exhale. And we inhale. And one more time. So our tailbone gets low when we bend that back knee. And we try to keep it low even when the leg gets straight. Good. Let's bring our hands to prayer and just bring that back foot forward to your spot, whether it's next to the foot or a bit apart from the foot. And when you can, arms forward again, butt comes lower. Good. And lift that right knee. Straighten that left leg. Pull that knee in close to you. And then let it move away. 4 times total. We're going to try not to lean back when we pull the knee in. All that's changing is the elbows. And of course, it's affecting your hip, but that's sort of going along for the ride. The next time that your knee is in close, think more about your standing leg. So you can slip your fingers away, reach up. Keep pressing into that left foot so the left fingers can go higher. One more breath. And then we take a big step back. We find our way to our lunge with all 10 toes facing front. And we exhale to put a little bend in that back leg, twist. Inhale, high lunge. We exhale to twist. And we're going to think pubic bone to belly button as we untwist. One more time. So this is all about core, even though there's so much happening with your limbs, it looks real fancy. Now let's bring our hands to prayer so that we can step our back foot forward. Take a second to sort of relax-ish. And let's meet in Bakasana so that we can go to Vinyasa from there. So I just step back a little bit to make more space on the mat. Hands go about 12 inches in front of the toes. We'll lift the heels. We'll start to point the toes so that we nudge our weight out of the feet and into the fingertips. Then heels come up toward your butt. The gaze is slightly forward here. And when you're ready, jump back to Vinyasa or just step to downward dog. Okay, let's lift the heels high for an inhale. Bend the knees, exhale, look forward and jump or step forward. Inhale when you get toward the top. Exhale to fold. We'll bend the knees for our Utkatasana. We'll decide where we want our feet exactly. And again, we'll squat a little bit more, bring our arms forward, counterbalance, arms and butt. Good. And let's start to stand. We're going to bring our left knee in again. We're going to pull it as close to us as we can so that right elbow is quite bent. And keep that grip with your right hand, but reach your left hand back so that you can twist. So you've got to use your right bicep, otherwise that left thigh will be nowhere close to you. If this is going well, flex your left foot, reach down for your foot and kick out. So you wind up in a twist, either holding the shin or the foot, and attempting to look back at your left thumb. Let's take one more breath. And we'll untwist whatever we have. We'll rebend the leg if it's straight. And let's step back to our lunge. So that we can open up warrior 2. Right foot is in front. And we'll straighten that right leg. Inhale. Bend it again for an exhale. Just one more time, straightening and bending it just so this hip gets used to this concept. And the next time you're bent, Parsvakonasana. Either elbow to thigh, or right hand to the floor or to the block, or binding underneath your leg. Good. We'll take 2 more breaths here. We want to feel something in that right hip. And if you don't feel something, it means you could probably try a different hand position. Maybe what you're in is a little too easy for you. Okay, let's slowly unravel. We're going to place that left knee on the floor, maybe hands on blocks. We'll just flex that right foot, push the hips back. This is a half split. Do it from the side. And then we'll rebend the knee so we wind up in Anjane again. So we straighten the leg by pushing the floor away from us. And we rebend that right knee by pulling the floor toward us. One more time. Moving in and out just makes it easier in a little bit when we go to stay there. Okay, so with that back knee, or I lied to you, with the front knee bent, we're going to lift the back knee and just step that left foot forward for an inhale. We'll fold for the exhale. Bend into the knees for your Utkatasana, chair pose. Stick your butt out and reach your arms forward. Pause for a moment and just enjoy. And we come all the way to standing. We bring our right knee with us. We push through that left leg so it's straight. We're going to add the twist. So we're either keeping our left hand on the right shin bone, or we lean forward a little bit so that we can get our grip onto our pinky toe edge of a flexed right foot. And then we kick. Try to look at that right thumb. And then drop that right hip 1 inch closer to the floor. Good. Let's untwist. We'll rebend the leg if it was straight. And we step back to our lunge. We open up to warrior 2. This is quite a long stance. So as your hip gets more and more open, shin bone is vertical, thigh bone horizontal. And it's not the flesh of the thigh. Think about where the actual bone is, because the flesh will throw us off about what's what. So we'll just straighten that leg for an inhale and bend for an exhale. Una vez más. We straighten and we bend. And we find our way to Parsvakonasana. We reach that right arm over the ear, or we take our bind. And because we're approaching that 90 degree in the left knee, we wind up with a lot of sensation in that hip. And Barb, see if you can rotate your right arm and shoulder a little bit more so the pinky finger angles down. Yes. It's going to make your upper back a little wider. Okay, and let's slowly unravel ourselves. We'll place the right knee on the ground, so it's Anjaneyasana. And in this pose, Anjaneya, you're getting into your hip crease, or your hip flexors, this right side. Then we'll straighten that left leg. Now you're getting into your left hamstrings. So 2 more times, we'll go back and forth between the 2 places. This is how we build a split, because in your split, you're dealing with both things. The hamstrings of the front leg, the quads and hip flexors of the back leg. Good. And the next time your left leg is bent, we'll just lift the right knee and step right foot forward for an inhale. Exhale, fold, bend into the knees, Utkatasana. And again, we'll try our Bakasana. I'm going to have to step back again. I'm using Mike's mat, which is shorter than my normal mat. Mine is extra long and Mike's is normal. So our palms come down and our toes and our feet, our ankles, help shift our weight forward. Then if you wanted, you could also take it to headstand by bending your elbows more, gently placing the crown of your head on the floor and lifting your legs up. All roads are going to lead to downward dog. So make your way there in a way that makes sense. Okay, let's lift the heels high for an inhale. Bend the knees, exhale, look forward, step or jump. Inhale when you get there, and fold, exhale. Utkatasana. Knees bend, arms come up, and then we'll reach forward so that we can sit lower. Just that counterbalance makes it so much easier. All right, so think about the soles of your feet. We're gonna rise all the way up. Left knee is gonna come up again. This time we'll flex our foot on the lower thigh, and we're just gonna think about pushing the left knee back. So if I didn't push this knee back and I let it slide forward, my foot would just slide down my leg. So the act of pushing it back is keeping it stuck. Now let's start to take it to a more normal standing pigeon. We can either reach forward or we can do a prayer. But then the right knee bending essentially gives you a table to rest your left ankle on. Okay, let's start to rise up. We're going to step that left foot back to our lunge. Again, open up to your warrior two shape. This time turning it into triangle, we'll straighten that right leg. Reach as far forward as we can. Inhale and lower the hand. Exhale. You could keep reaching up. That's sort of the traditional way. I like to often bring my arm behind my back to grab hold of the thigh and then press my waist into my forearm or into my hand or whatever piece of my arm is back there. One more breath here. And let's reach the left arm up if it's behind you. And we'll all use an inhale to rise up so that we can rebend that right leg, meeting in Anjaneyasana again. Good. So either stay here or sweep that right arm forward and around. Grab hold of your back foot and just hang out here for a sec and let the weight of the foot just settle into your hand. So the arm is straight. It's a pretty passive stretch at the moment, just kind of breathing into it. And you could always have a strap on that back foot if the foot is really far away. Okay, let's let go of that back foot if you have that grip. And let's lift the back knee, step forward, inhale. Fold, exhale. Uttanasana. Bend the knees, reach up. And just notice, where are your hips in space when you're reaching up? And pay attention to how different it goes when you reach forward. There's no right answer, you're just noticing. Because when you're in Utkatasana, you just want to be as low as you can with the arm still up. Okay, let's straighten the left leg. Bring the right knee in. And when you can, flex the foot. Place the ankle on the lower thigh. And press that right knee back. On side one, we had our arms up. You can really do whatever with your arms. So as you're pushing that right knee back, try not to turn to the side. So you're still going to think right hip forward. Just the knee goes back. So you wind up getting into your hip a lot. And when you can, reach forward, bend the standing leg, or hands to prayer. This is a more normal standing pigeon. John, come a little more toward the top of your mat, because in a moment we're going to step back and you're going to want that whole mat. Okay, let's start to rise up. The right foot steps back. There's our lunge. We turn it into warrior two. And we turn it into triangle by straightening the left leg. I usually bring my back foot in a smidge because my triangle distance is a little less than a warrior two distance. And we either reach up or we reach behind. And regardless of where your arm is, it's not a back bend. So I just put my arm behind me to help me remember that, to push the waistline back. But regardless of what your right arm is doing, just tuck your ribs in a little bit. So those front lowest ribs, they're not poking forward. Okay, if the arm is behind, reach it up again on an inhale. And let's release our hands to the floor so we can lower our left or our right knee to the floor. We wind up in Anjaneyasana. Good. So already you're getting into this right thigh. When you are able, reach forward, make a big arc, take up as much space as you can so that you're getting into your shoulder. And then we bend that right leg, we reach for the foot with the left hand. Or we take our strappy strap. And it's hard to relax in poses like this. So we just do what we can. Okay, and let's slowly get out of there. We're just going to step back to plank. Find that stability that you had before. Good. Then lift your butt as you lower your elbows. So you wind up entering down dog B. And if you can lift your butt at the same time that the elbows descend, they're going to land on the ground at the same time. Your ankles are going to have a lot to do with this. So let's think about our ankles. We're going to use them to push us forward into plank again. So we'll bring the weight forward, the elbows are going to lift up, and we're going to wind up in plank with straight arms. Good. Then return to your down dog B, reaching your heels to the floor, your butt to the ceiling. Ooh, Barb, that was so good. And let's return to a straight arm plank. And then either vinyasa or normal downward dog with straight arms. And once we have our straight arm dog, we have the space needed to step or jump our feet forward toward the hands. And once you get feet toward the top of your mat, inhale. And let's fold, exhale. Bend into the knees, Utkatasana. See if you can find that spot where your butt is really low, but you're still reaching up. It's a much bigger back bend, and so it doesn't always work. Also, balance feels crazy, so sometimes it's just nicer to reach forward. So sort of decide and play with those options. And we'll come all the way to standing again. The left leg will lift up, and we're going to cross thigh over thigh as high up as you can. Your foot might even go behind your ankle. Either keep reaching up or bring your right arm underneath your left and twist them like ropes. Palms are either going to be together or your hand will be on your forearm. And we'll lift the elbows up as high as we can. This is eagle pose. You can either stay here, or sometimes it's nice to bring your elbows towards your belly button and round your back. And that helps you remember to use your abs and your core to help protect your back. One more breath. And from wherever we are, we're just going to unwind ourselves, bring our left knee to the chest and reach up so that we can step back into our lunge with that left foot. Good. Let's descend to our Anjaneyasana just to make our twist easier. Let's hold our right thigh with our right hand, roll the flesh of the thigh in, and dive your left arm over the thigh. Hook as close to the armpit as you can, then palms to prayer. Either stay here or back knee up. Either stay here or left hand to the floor, right hand to the ceiling. Or maybe even binding where your right arm goes behind your back and your left arm goes under your right leg. We'll take 3 more breaths wherever you are. We're trying to squeeze the legs toward each other. And then you're going to feel your right hip move back. And it's such a much bigger deal for the hip. And that's sort of the point. Okay, let's unravel ourselves nice and slow. Now we'll just bring our back foot forward for an inhale. We'll fold for an exhale. We'll find our Utkatasana again. Knees bend, arms come up. We'll sit as low as we want, and we'll decide, are we going to keep our arms up or reach forward? And let's think about the sole of the left foot as we rise all the way up with our right knee. Then we cross thigh over thigh. Foot may or may not be behind the ankle. If you're doing arms, it's left under right this time. You might have your hand on your forearm or maybe on your thumb. I like to sometimes interlace my fingers so that I try to get the palms a little closer together. And you'll either stay with your elbows lifting up or bring them towards your belly button. Round yourself. So it's like two distinct body shapes. And every time you do it, you can do it differently, or you'll find the way that transports you to a whole new body. Okay, we're going to slowly unravel ourselves, rise up with that right knee again, so that you're free to step back to your lunge. And fell over. Keep reaching up so that you can bring your right knee down without a whole lot of crash bang. The more up you feel, the more gentle that right knee will go down. Okay, left hand to the thigh. Unbend that leg a few inches with the left arm, or hand, I should say. Roll the flesh in. Literally get that thigh flesh to the inside of the leg so you can hook your arm deeper. Hands in prayer or something else. Back knee up if you can. Gazing up if you can. Balance gets crazy if you do that, but sometimes it's fun. You could also start the process of looking up with that right knee on the floor and then sort of lift the knee an inch or 2 inches. Good. And let's slowly get out of there. We're going to place our palms and step to plank again. And let's try again to lower onto the forearms. Lift your butt up, reach your heels toward the ground. And return to plank. Heels lift up, butt comes down. One more time like that. This is a lot of tricep and a lot of shoulder, but also you're working your hands and feet in a very organized way. Let's meet in down dog B this time. Let's start to walk the feet back. So you wind up in forearm plank. And your feet might wind up off your mat a little bit. We won't be here forever. Let's imagine and attempt to bring our right knee toward our right shoulder. And then step that right foot back again. Left knee comes in. Just like when you tapped your knee to your elbow, but from forearm it's different. And then step it back. Good. Let's walk to down dog B again. Straighten the arms, regular down dog, and take a rest there. Okay, and let's meet with our feet toward the top of the mat. So choreograph your way. And once we get to the top, let's meet in our bent knee Utkatasana position. And again, we'll reach our arms forward so that we can squat a little lower. Okay, and let's rise up. We're going to pull our shin in again like we did before. This time, left hand to the left hip. We'll either stay here and just practice getting our standing legs straight, or we're going to lean forward, kind of like when you had your elbows in your belly button. Then change your grip to your big toe grip. Stand up straight again, and either stay right here or push your foot forward so that your leg is getting straighter and straighter. And over the years, it gets eventually straight. We'll just take another breath. So there's a lot of flexibility here, but it is also technique. Let's rebend the leg if it's straight. We're going to keep thinking about the standing leg. Let's just bring our hands to prayer without changing anything else. And step back to your, what is that? A lunge. Good. And let's lower that back knee to the floor. Let's bring our hands down for a sec. And let's bring our left foot to the right so that we can come into pigeon. Walk that right leg back a little bit more maybe so that you can settle in. So it's just pigeon left leg in front. Sometimes it's nice to have the hands wide so that you can steer yourself. You might notice that you tend to rock over to that outer hip. So if you put your left hand on the floor and push, you're going to come a little more to square. Then the right hand can sort of pull your right hip forward. Good. So we're going to go from here to our forearm plank again. The easiest way, or the fewest steps, I should say, would be to just put your forearms down, lift your right knee off the ground, and slide your left leg out of there. And if that wasn't a way that worked for you, just meet us when you can. So power up that left leg a little more and start to bring your right knee again toward your shoulder, as if you're just bringing your knee to your elbow from a regular plank, same concept. Right leg steps back again, left leg starts coming in as close as it can without your pose getting crumbled. And we'll step that left foot back, walk the feet in, down dog B. Use the fingers to push your chest a little closer to your legs. You're going to feel your armpits stretch. And let's re-straighten the arms to downward dog so that we can step or jump our feet toward our hands. We inhale at the top of the mat and we fold for an exhale. Let's bend into the knees, Utkatasana. Decide what you want to do with your arms. Try to sit lower, because then you're going to find a lot more power when you go to stand. So now we'll stand and we'll hold our left shin. We'll pull it in and we're keeping our shoulders over our hips. Right hand to the hip. Either stay here or belly in, round your back, reach for your big toe. Then stand upright again and maybe start to kick. So this is really about that standing leg being straight and the shoulders staying over the hips. You're using your core to sort of create that. You can also put your right hand on your belly or on your lowest ribs if that helps you remember. Now let's rebend the knee if it's straight. We'll bring our hands to prayer and we'll just step back. We'll meet in our Anjaneyasana. Good. Now we'll bring our hands down and we'll make our way to pigeon. Just a little scoochy scooch with the right foot. Right knee comes down. And we do things with our hands that help our hips keep their integrity. You can also wedge a block under your right hip so that it's impossible to fall over onto the hip. Right side. Ooh la la. All right, so we're going to meet in our forearm plank again. So if you liked getting into it by just coming to your forearms, do that again. Or we'll see you over there, see you on the other side. And this will be our last time for the whole day that we're going to bring our knee in toward our armpit in a plank shape. And we'll extend that leg back again so that we can bring the left knee in, equal weight right and left. Extend it back. Down dog B, we walk our feet in, our butt lifts up, and we actively press our chest back toward our thighs. That's going to make it way less likely that your head's going to clunk into the floor. And then also you have more weight in your feet. So now when you go to straighten your arms, it's a lot easier to do it at the same time, right and left. Chest pushes back, arms straight. Good. And let's step or jump feet to hands. We'll inhale. And we'll fold, exhale. Bend into the knees. Utkatasana, inhale. Into our squat. This time maybe coming a little lower into a rounded shape. If I kept my thighs parallel to the floor, I'm a bit neutral in the spine. If I go lower with my butt, the back goes rounder. But listen to your knees when you decide. We're going to return to that spot where our thighs were parallel. And we'll bring our right knee up as we come to stand. And bring your left hand to your hip, your right leg out to the side, and with your right elbow bending more and more, bring your knee toward your armpit. Either stay here or flex your foot. Your leg is going to stay there for a second on its own so that you can reach down for your big toe and then start to kick out. Gaze opposite if you can. So the leg is to the right, the gaze would go to the left. And you could hold the foot or the strap or the shin bone. Good. Let's turn the gaze front again. We're going to rebend the leg if it's straight and just put the foot into tree. As high up on the leg as you can, hands to prayer. And just like when you were in figure 4 earlier, you're going to think of pushing that right knee back, just with your brain power. There's no actual pushing happening. You're just telling your hip to rotate in such a way that the knee moves back, but that right hip bone is still going to be facing front. Okay, let's bring that right knee in again so the foot can come off the thigh. And let's just step back to our lunge so that we can lower our fingertips down. We're going to slide that right foot in about 6 inches and place the heel on the floor. We're setting up for twisted triangle. So we have our left foot faced in front, right foot 45 degrees, right hand comes down to the floor or block, left arm up to the sky. Now we attempt to look at our left thumb. Good. Let's all put a little bit more weight in our front foot, almost like we're about to step forward. Okay, let's unravel. We're going to rise up and just face the long edge of the mat. Separate your feet just a little bit more, hands to hips for an inhale, and we'll fold for the exhale. Prasarita A. Hands will come down to the mat, we inhale, and head may or may not come down to the mat, we exhale. And we're essentially pushing with our hands. That push is going to help us get our head down and our butt up. Good. Engage your quads a little bit more so that the hamstrings feel safer in their stretch. And let's use an inhale to straighten the arms. We'll walk the hands towards the top of the mat for an exhale. Back foot will step forward for an inhale. And we'll fold for the exhale. Bend the knees, Utkatasana. Inhale. Maybe into your squat or into your spot where your thighs are parallel to the floor. Sometimes I also like to hug the arms around the shins. And then it's just like a little claustrophobic, but also kind of comfy. Okay, we're going to return to our thigh parallel position so that we can at some point lift our left knee up and we'll pull it in with our hands. Right hand will come to the hip. Left hand will escort the knee to the side and we'll bend that left elbow more so that the knee is moving up toward the armpit, but we're not leaning our body, we're just bending the left elbow. Then if you take your yogi toe lock grip, you got to let go of your shin for a second, reach down, then stand up tall and start to kick. So just like your other balances, it's really about your standing leg and your positioning of your shoulders. Everything else sort of falls into place after that stuff. Okay, let's bend that knee again. If it's straight, we're going to put that left foot on the right thigh or somewhere along the leg. Hands can come to prayer. Knee is going to push back. Sometimes I like to do a tree with my hands on my hips just to see what are these hip bones doing. If I notice the left one started to slide back, I might do a little push with the left hand, bringing that left hip forward, and a little pull back with the right hand on the right hip. Sort of the same way we steer our hips in pigeon if our hands are on the floor. Same idea. Okay, we're gonna bring our left knee in again so that we can get that foot off the thigh. We step back to our lunge, and let's place the fingers down so that we can adjust our left foot. We bring it in about 6 inches, and we have a heel to heel alignment here. So if I took a Sharpie marker at the back of the right heel and drew a line back, it would then touch the left heel. Left palm flat, right arm up. And your block has 3 different heights. So when you're trying to get that left palm flat, be honest about what is possible. And we try to look up at that right thumb. Easy side. 2 more breaths. Okay, let's unravel ourselves. We'll rise up and face the long edge of the mat. So we pivot the feet to be parallel to each other. Let's go fingers interlaced behind the back. So this is Prasarita Padottanasana C. We straighten the arms for an inhale, and we fold for the exhale. And we're trying to get our thumbs as far away from our butt as possible. I can go X distance with my palms together, and I can go 2x distance if my palms are separated. So figure out what works for you. Sometimes people like X distance, and they like the feeling of palm to palm. I personally do not. Okay, and let's slowly go about halfway up so that we can just release our hands, walk them toward the top of the mat, and step back to downward dog. And just shake out your head when you get there. Good. Let's lift the heels high off the ground and spin them to the right so all your toes point to the left edge of your mat. And bend into your right knee. You're going to find there's a lot of weight in your left foot and in your right hand. And you wind up with this great stretch in the left side body by your waist. And then come up and around with the heels over to the other side. Now the left knee bends, lots of weight in that right foot, and it's still a down dog shape, so we're still pressing our chest back as opposed to a plank shape, and that makes it more relaxing. Okay, let's bring our feet back to a normal place so that we can step or jump our feet forward and come down into sitting. So I'm going down through that squat where I sort of hugged my shins with my arms, but you don't have to go that way. And once you're sitting, let's bring the soles of the feet together, the shins in a straight line, more or less. And we'll inhale here. This is Baddha Konasana. We fold forward. We're giving our biceps a little workout by essentially pulling our chest toward our feet. Oh, Lordy, that feels good. And this is where we will stay for the rest of class. It's poses like this that really require us to have a group class, because this and pigeon, like we're just going to hang out in them for too long. Let's start to rise up. We're going to meet in Ardha Matsyendrasana. So the left leg can straighten. The right foot is going to come to the outside of the left knee. If you have no knee issues with your left knee, you're going to bend that leg also. And that right foot is halfway in front of the left knee. We hug into a twist. That's right knee to left shoulder. Or we hook our arm. We push with the power of the arm. We push our right leg to the left. Good. So the goal is to feel something in the right hip. The tendency is when we're in this twist, we're letting that right hip slide back a little bit, and then we're not going to feel as much. So even though your right shoulder is moving back, try to move your right hip forward. And just take one more breath. Okay, and let's unravel ourselves. We're going to straighten out both legs in front of us and come down to the elbows. This is no man's land. This is not a pose, but it's helpful for some other things. So let's just lift our right leg up toward the ceiling and let our left leg hover an inch or so. Then stare at your belly. Even if you have a shirt on, you can sort of see the shape that the belly's making. Let's draw the belly button down toward the floor so that your belly gets flatter. So there's not a ridge line. Then change the leg so the left leg is up and the right leg is hovering. And again, gaze at your belly. And as your belly is drawing down and flattening out, your mid back is moving toward the floor as well. And keep staring at your belly and trying to do that action as you change your legs a few more times. So not necessarily staying put, but moving the legs. It's much harder to keep that belly engaged, and we'll call these bandhas. It's much harder to do it when we're moving than when we're staying. But life doesn't have a lot of pause, so we have to figure out how to do both. Okay, and let's bend the knees into the chest so that we can rise up. And let's go for Baddha Konasana B, which is a doozy. So in A, you have your spine nice and neutral and you just fold forward by hinging at your hip. B is where you tuck your chin toward your chest and you start to round your back. I like to dig my elbows into my hips a little bit here. That's not really in the script, but that's just how I do it. And then we bring our head toward our feet. So it's a much rounder shape. It might require that you put your feet further out in front of you, or it might require that you skip it all together and repeat the A shape. Or you might just be practicing the act of dropping your head like we did at the very first moment of class, because that already starts to pull on back muscles if you're having a tight back day. Okay, let's start to rise up so that we can go Ardha Matsyendrasana side 2. Right leg starts straight, left foot comes onto the outside of the knee. We make a choice, leg stays straight or bends, and we twist to the left. Good. And we're going to try to keep the sole of the left foot on the floor. So even though we can't see it, we're twisting away from it. Feel it anchoring. One more breath. Okay, and let's unravel ourselves. We'll straighten out the legs again. We're going to come down onto our elbows again, and we'll stare at our belly. If we sort of do nothing, like it's pretty easy to flatten it out. But as soon as we're going to lift our legs off the floor, it's going to take a lot of work. So find it first with your legs on the floor, and then as you can, lift your legs up, let them hover. And we're just going to bring the knees in toward the chest, like you're going to knee yourself in the shoulder, and then extend your legs out again. And we'll just do this a few times. We're going to try to keep our focus on our belly the whole time. And your legs are very pretty, but they're not working that hard. Your legs can do this no problem. The belly, however, much problem. So one thing that makes it a little easier is if you bring your edges of feet together and literally push edge of foot into other foot so that when your legs get extended, they have something to help themselves stay afloat. Good. And the next time that your legs are out, we'll just start to prop ourselves up again. Ah, thank God that's over. Let's let's bring the right foot to the left thigh. I always have these ideas that then when I do them, I'm like, why did we do that? That was hard. So this is Janu Sirsasana A. Foot is at left thigh. I also like C, which is hard to recommend because I've never really met anyone else that likes C, but I like it. You have the ball of the foot down and the heel is up, and the arch cradles your thigh. So maybe you want to try that. We're going to fold forward either way. So either Janu Sirsasana A or C. Shirsa is head, Janu is knee. So the implication of the name of the pose is that we're folding our head toward our knee. But that's not really accurate because when you're in this fold, your head is going to be more on your shin bone. So keep your spine long and reaching forward. Okay. And let's rise up so that we can just change sides. We'll straighten that right leg, and we'll bring the left foot either to the sole to thigh, or arch to thigh. And we fold forward with any grip. You can hold your foot, you can hold your shin. Sometimes it's nice to do hands on floor, like what we did with pigeon, where you then steer yourself, because we want our torso pretty much square over the straight right leg. That would require maybe the right ribs moving back, which means right hand pushes down. Left ribs move forward, which means left hand pulls forward. And that can really be done with your hands in any kind of location, on the leg or the floor. Okay, let's rise up. We're going to straighten our legs out in front of us again. And let's just come down to our backs. And I will try to explain this so that you don't have to see your screen. But if you need to, you can look up. So we're going to be on our backs with our knees above our hips and our shins parallel to the ground. So it's just like we're sitting in a really obnoxious chair, and we're pinning our head to the headrest of the chair. Then let's bring our arms up to the ceiling so they're right over our shoulders. And let's squish our spine down into the floor. So in Pilates talk, you are imprinting your spine on the floor. You're not letting there be any gap between your back and the mat. So keeping your attention on your spine, smushing into the floor, extend your right leg forward and your left arm back. So you create a straight line along the ground with those limbs, then bring them to your resting spot, table with your arms up. Then left leg comes out, right arm reaches over the head, so it's like your right knuckles touch the floor, and bring it in again to your resting spot. So just alternate at whatever pace suits you. The slower you go, the easier it's going to be to keep your spine on the floor. And that's really what the effective work is going to be. So don't worry about your pace at all. Slow like molasses is going to get you very strong. There is no benefit to doing this quicker than what the integrity of that midsection can handle. We'll just take about 2 more rounds. It's an inhale to extend and an exhale to bring it in again to that resting place. Good. And the next time that you are in that resting place, whenever that happens, no rush, we'll just bring knees to chest, rock a little bit side to side. And then we'll rock a little bit forward and back. And let's rock so much that we wind up on our butt. Ooh. And we'll extend the legs any amount. You could also hold on, and you can bend the knees. This is Navasana. And let's vinyasa so that we can cleanse our palate and get a little stretch for our abs when we're in our up dog or our cobra. So milk that for as long as you want so that it feels nice. And let's meet in downward dog. Okay, let's again lift our heels high and turn our toes to the left. So that we put a little bend in that right leg for a sec. We feel very solid on our left foot. And we're going to keep that side bend idea, but we're going to turn it into wild thing instead. So we're going to change the foot position just so that the right foot takes the weight. The left foot will step behind us off the mat. Hips will go up high and we'll reach that left arm overhead. We might even look at it so that we open the throat, and that will help us get our hips a little higher. And you wind up with this nice side body and ab stretch again. Good, and let's come through center so that we can just do the other side, starting with the toes facing the right. Bend the left knee for a sec just so that you get your side stretch first, because we're just going to take it and crank it up a few notches. Then place the right foot behind you, the left foot takes some weight, and we can straighten that left leg. We're gonna reach that right arm out and look at it as we're reaching. Open the throat, the chest, hips go high. Okay, and swivel around to a normal downward dog. Okay, right foot forward, Anjaneyasana. This is nice. So we're gonna head to split soon, but not just yet. We'll just do one thing first. So let's walk our hands to our thigh. And then we'll make some choices. If you're already feeling like your left thigh is on fire, you're gonna stay here and just enjoy the fire. If you can, you're gonna reach your arms back. You might do something like this, which is an interlaced finger, or you might bring your back foot in so that you can interlace your fingers around your ankle. So you just decide what is the spot that you should go so that your left thigh and hip flexors are feeling something, but not too much, because it has to be somewhat sweet. Every pose is supposed to be stable and sweet. That's the goal. Okay, so now we're ready for split. So we're gonna undo whatever we have with our arms. We're gonna keep the thigh stretch that we have, and we're just gonna straighten our right leg however much we want. So I just walk my left knee back to do it. A lot of people slide the right foot forward, does not matter. But you're keeping the thigh stretch as you add the hamstring stretch. So you're not substituting one for the other, you're just adding on. There can be no split without a stretch in that back leg. Okay, the hardest part is getting out of there. So we either slide the right foot back, we bounce the left knee forward, God knows, and let's just change sides. We'll put that right knee on the floor. We'll walk the hands up to the left thigh, and we're probably already feeling something. Do we want to feel more? That is the question. Maybe reach back. Maybe bring the foot in. I like to interlace on the ankle so that my foot is free to do its thing. It can point, it can flex. If I was going to take this into a form where I bring the ball of the back foot to the ground, I would definitely have to flex. But since it's not necessarily doing that, the foot can do all kinds of things. Okay, so keeping your thigh stretch, release whatever grip you have, and then start to descend into your split. You could put a block under your left thigh. That's really nice for sort of catching you and letting your arms rest for a second. I'm too lazy to get the block, even though it's like 6 feet away from me. It's just too much. So I'm going to keep my hands on the floor to hold me. If I were to lift my hands, I know the hips would not be square anymore. So there's no point to that. We have to keep the integrity of the pose more so than we have to get our pelvis down. Okay, very nice. So slowly, slowly make your way through your vinyasa. We'll just meet up in down dog. This is a do what I say, not what I do moment. I'm skipping the vinyasa because I don't want to do it. I'm just going straight to dog. Okay, we're going to come through and have a seat again. And we'll do a similar thing to that imprint that you did. We're gonna, let's let our left foot be on the floor. We're gonna have our right foot up. We're gonna imprint the spine in the floor. And we're gonna make as big of a circle as we can with our right leg. We'll let it come down at center, and then it'll go out to the side and up again. And we're just gonna do like 5 circles one direction, 5 circles the other. It does not matter how big your range of motion is here, or how slow or fast you're going, but try not to rock to the side just because your leg went to the side. So the amount of core control and awareness that you have to have is insane. I like to put my fingers on the lowest ribs just to make sure they're behaving. They're never going to flare out. It's never going to be a back bend. Let's go the other direction with the leg. And if you're feeling any cramp in the hip, just make your circle much smaller. Make it so that you can work on the core and not have to deal with the hip right now. You can deal with the hip next time you do this little exercise, perhaps. Let's take one more circle here. And then we'll just bring that sole of right foot to the floor so that we can lift the left leg up. If you need to take a break, do that first for just like a breath, and then, okay, spine to the floor again. Now left leg drops down and around. So you can let your head and shoulders be on the floor, somewhat relaxed through the neck and the shoulders, but not at all relaxed in the torso. No rocking side to side, Miss Bailey. And go the other direction with your leg. So keep everything very still. It's almost like your left leg is detached from your body and it's moving, but nothing else is. It's just harder that way. And of course, I'm here to make your life difficult. I think I said switch sides already. I know I switched sides. I don't know if I said it. So if I didn't say it, switch. We'll do 5 on that side. Hopefully you're about wrapped up. And when you've done 5 on that side, we'll just meet with our knees and our chest. And let's do a little sit up so our head is coming closer to our knees. And we're going to stare at our elbows for a second. We're going to get them some degree of bent. And we're going to lock them into that degree of bend. And start to rock forward and back, keeping your elbows at whatever degree you decided, so that your shape is pretty constant. And let's meet on our butts. We're going to reach for our big toes, first 2 fingers and thumbs, get our grip. And any amount, we're going to start drawing our feet out to the side. It might be something like this, which is kind of like a happy baby. It might go a little further. You might get your legs fully straight. But you're going to feel like you're pulling your feet back as you're pushing your feet away. So there's a bit of tension there with the hands and feet. And let's meet again in Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet will come together. Then we're going to scoot our butt back about 12 inches. So now we have a big diamond shape between our legs, and we'll bring our head toward the arches of the feet. Okay, and let's slowly roll ourselves up. Let's bring our legs out in front of us. Maybe put blocks next to your thighs. If you have 2 blocks that are the same height, that would make the next couple minutes of your life a little easier. If you have only 1 block or height different blocks, no block for you. Let's put our hands by our thighs, lean forward. And then just straighten your back and sit up again. Just do that a few more times. Notice when you're leaning forward, your elbows are bent. And when you sit up tall, your arms go straight. Simple. And Barb, you're probably going to want those blocks a little closer to you. Yeah, like as close as possible. Okay, so now we're going to make it harder. So we just looked at our elbows. We're going to lean forward. The elbows are bent. Now it's where it gets tough. We're going to keep leaning forward, but we're going to straighten our arms. So the result is that our butt is going to lift off the ground. We push down, we get our arms straight. It takes an insane amount of core strength to get your butt off the ground. Let's bring our butt down again, then straighten the arms with your butt on the floor just to give yourself a little rest. And then lean forward again. Your legs are super strong here as well. Keep leaning forward, but straighten your arms. Try to get your butt up. Gently lower your butt down. Keep your legs strong and just lift your chest up so that you're neutral again. Let's do this one more time. I didn't realize how much leg work this is, but when I lift my butt, I feel like, whew, my thighs are working. And then we'll meet upright again. Okay. And let's vinyasa. I guess I'm honest, which is why Carolyn is cracking up. I'm just saying what we're all thinking. Okay, so what you just did is essentially the power of headstand, the power of everything, really. So let's try to take that into headstand for a moment. The same idea of being upright versus curling. When you curl in on yourself, it's going to be much harder. So take your time to decide sort of what position do you want for your hands. And then when you're resting, you're just going to be sort of vertical. You could stay here for a long time, no problem. When you can, you're going to bring your knees as close to your armpits as possible. So you're a rounded shape. And when you get sick of that, you're going to lift your legs up again so that you can rest for a moment. And you'll bring yourself into your rounded shape again. And just go back and forth maybe like 3 times. Stay for as long as you can with your knees moving toward your armpit. When you get tired, rest in your vertical headstand. And it sounds crazy to rest in headstand, but you're going to notice the difference. Curling in is crazy hard, and lifting your legs up to neutral is a relief. And when you've done that about 3 times, we're just going to rest in child pose for a moment, and then we'll move along. Okay, let's rise up. We're going to sit on our butts again. And we're just going to add one more element to the leaning forward, get your butt off the ground kind of thing. So we're going to work our hamstrings quite a bit for this next piece. Hands are going to be where they were. Leaning forward, same thing. I'm going to push down to get my butt up. And then I'm going to pull with my heels to bring my hips forward. And I'll try to lift them as high as I can. Then with the heels, again, I'm going to throw my butt back so it doesn't touch the floor. It goes through the forearms. This is a reverse tabletop. And then this is where you were moments ago, leaning forward with your hips up off the ground. So give it a try. It's not that much harder than the lifting the butt up. Really, the butt getting up is the hardest part about it. Good. Now, Barb, keep leaning your shoulders forward, even when you bring your butt through. You might want to slide your blocks 2 inches forward of you, of where they are. Yeah. Because then the shoulders are going to counterbalance your butt. Just like in our, all those Utkatasana we did. We did like 600 Utkatasana today. Same idea of you had to get your arms to counterbalance your butt. Here, your shoulders counterbalance your butt when you go through. Okay, let's come on down. We're going to lay on our backs for a sec, and let's take our arms to goalpost arms, so also known as cactus arms. We're just going to have our palms face the ceiling, elbows in line with shoulders, just 90-degree bends in the elbows. This is just going to help relax your pecs a little bit because they just did a whole lot for you. So we'll have our feet about hips width. Let's keep everything the same except just drop your knees to the right. It's going to feel a little sloppy and askew. If this is going well for you, though, and it feels nice, put your right ankle on your left thigh and just bring your left knee closer to the floor with the assistance of your right foot. Try to stay relaxed in the shoulders if you can. And let's release that right foot. If you have it on the thigh, bring it over to the other side. Seems a little sloppy, but that sloppiness gives us access left foot to right thigh. Or it's like right outer knee. And you may feel something in the right waist. I definitely do, but I have a lot of tightness there, so I might feel things that normal people don't. Okay, let's release that left foot, bring the knees to face the ceiling again, and let's lift the spine up off the ground, interlace the fingers under the back by rocking side to side. This is Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. We're gently pressing the back of the head into the floor. Okay, so for this next little, like maybe 3 minutes, there's not going to be a whole lot of rest. Let's come down onto our backs and we're only going to rest for one breath. Then we're going to go right back up. So on your next inhale, return to where you just were. And lift your heels up off the ground. Walk your feet in an inch. Keep your hips up at this new height that they just found. And very slowly lower your heels to the floor, but don't let the hips drop when you lower your heels. The hips stay at that new height. Good. And then slowly come on down. But again, it's just one breath to rest. And then rise up. Inhale. Maybe do a Urdhva Dhanurasana with straight arms or any other back bend that suits you. Big belly breath so that you can stretch out your abs a little bit. And let's come on down, just one breath to rest. We're going to do two more. Let's lift up for an inhale. Use your legs to get your hips a little higher. Just barely bring your knees in 1 inch closer together. Yeah. And let's come on down for one breath rest. And then we have our last back bend. Do whatever variation suits you. Lift up on an inhale. Good. And let's slowly come on down. Let's bring the knees in toward the chest. Rock a little bit side to side. And let's do a little sit up so that again we can look at our elbows and see how bent they want to be. Where do we want our knees in relation to our chest? And start to rock forward and back. Let's meet on our butts at some point. Good. Let's bring our right foot to our left thigh and our left leg out on the diagonal. So this is the makings of Paradvajasana. It's like almost like Janushirasana, but it's kind of askew, and we're about to do a twist. If you have no pain in your left leg, you can fold that leg back to Virasana. If you have no pain in your right knee, you can half lotus up that right foot. We're going to twist to the right. That right hand can be behind your back or on the floor. The left hand will go on that right knee. And there's this little push-pull action. So your hands are helping steer you into your twist. And you're going to try to push your right hip forward a little more, just with your stubbornness and signal of your brain to say, go forward, hip. Okay, let's unravel ourselves. straighten out the legs if they were folded back or any such thing. Then we'll bring our left foot to our right inner thigh. We may or may not fold that right leg back, but our knees are going to be at max width. So whether my leg is straight or bent, it doesn't change where the thigh bone is. If I'm in half lotus or not, it doesn't change where the thigh bone is. We twist left. This is Bharadwajasana, which is after back bends in Ashtanga's second series. You get like a ton of back bends, and then you get 2 twists, and then you do some other crazy things, and then you get a pincha. Yeah, the outline is fun. All the little specifics are not necessarily that fun, but the overall arch is fun. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. We're going to attempt a squat with our toes dangling off the mat. John, you're going to do more like a ski racer thing. And depending on everyone else's knees, maybe also you'll do a ski racer thing. So my feet are facing kind of out on the diagonal. The toes are toward the edge of the mat. And I'm using the elbows to push the knees back. At some point, you're not going to need the arms to push the knees back. You could do anything with the arms and the knees are going to stay back. Because if you're here in your squat and this is happening, the edge of the foot is off the ground, you're kind of avoiding the hip stretch. So until you can do it without the arms, just push back. Okay, let's take our final vinyasa. It might, and I should say, you're still going to do something else. This is just the last vinyasa. Don't get quite too excited. Maybe a bakasana like you did earlier. See if it got any easier. Either jump back from there or go through your headstand. We'll meet in downward dog. And we will put one little cherry on the Sunday of an asana practice with a pinch of mayurasana. You've done 1,000 preps for it. You just didn't realize. Pincha is a very gentle back bend. And if you know it, just go ahead up into it. No reason to listen to my spiel. But I'll spiel anyway, in case something will be new. So the start of it is the same as a headstand, where you measure out your fingers around your triceps, forearms parallel, knees up, chest presses back toward legs. And as you feel comfy, you walk the feet in. As you feel comfy, you lift one leg up. You have to keep pressing your chest back, even as you lift the legs up toward the ceiling or toward the wall, depending on if you're new to it and finding the wall. The gaze will be somewhere between the elbows and the fingers. And where you decide to put your gaze is going to change the shape of your back. Good. And let's start to meet in child's poses whenever you're kind of wrapping it up. And there's a lot of different child's poses. So for right now, let's do one with our arms by our sides, because we're done with back bend, so we can let the shoulders sort of slump forward and just see what you think of it. A lot of the time, I make us do child's poses with our arms in front of us, because that helps the shoulders stay a little bit more on the ready. And let's start to roll ourselves out of this. The head is going to come up last. So try to notice that moment of the head being a dangly thing, how it might pull on the back muscles, and how eventually you would stack it on top. And if there's any last pose you need before Shavasana, go ahead and take it. And when you're ready, lay back, grab your cats, make them sit on top of you. It's the least they can do. They pay no rent. They don't buy their food. They have to do something to earn their keep. I think sitting on us in Shavasana is the perfect thing. Let's take a few more breaths here. We'll wiggle fingers and toes a bit. We'll bring the knees in. We'll roll around a bit, wake up the back. Make sure everything's comfy. And we'll gently sit up. This is my girl. I've been harassing her the whole time that you were in Shavasana. I gave her a full body massage, and that means that now she's going to spend the next 30 minutes cleaning herself. But, oh, there's a little baby at Carolyn's house. Let's just bring our hands together for a moment and just bow forward any amount. Seal in the energy that you created and all the magic that is brought to us by our little furry creatures. Namaste. Okay, stop recording.